One of the most fundamental relationships we have with Allah is the relationship of asking. Asking is an integral part of our connection with the Almighty, as He alone is the one who can grant us what we need in this life and the hereafter. We find ourselves in need of His help at every turn, whether it's in the matters of religion, our personal lives, or even the smallest of our daily affairs. We turn to Him with hope and trust. We need His help in the most sacred matters of our lives. We need His guidance to stay on the right path, to remain committed to the straight way, to be protected from the whispers of evil, and to find our hearts aligned with what pleases Him. We need His mercy in seeking forgiveness for our shortcomings. We know that without His help, we are lost, and without His mercy, we are nothing. But it is not only in these spiritual matters that we need Him. Allah's help is needed in every aspect of our lives. We need Allah's help in our family matters, especially in the challenges that come with relationships, raising children, and managing the complexities of human connection. There are times when we may feel helpless, as though the struggles in our homes are too heavy to bear. We may face misunderstandings, disagreements, or moments where the bonds we cherish seem strained. In such times, we must remember that Allah is always there to guide us through, to heal the wounds that may have formed, and to grant us peace and unity in our homes. We need Allah's help when it comes to our health. Many of us are battling chronic illnesses, dealing with pain, or perhaps even facing fear of a diagnosis. We pray for healing, strength, and patience. The body may weaken and our spirits may falter, but we must turn to Allah for comfort, for relief, and for the ultimate cure that only He can provide. We know that all health is in His hands, and it is through His mercy and power that we are granted healing. And then there are financial struggles. Many of us at some point or another will find ourselves in a difficult financial situation. Perhaps it's debt, unemployment, or simply not having enough to cover our basic needs. You may feel that you are stuck in an impossible situation with no way out and no one to turn to. You might try to explain your troubles to others, but they may never truly understand the depth of your struggle. The weight of financial stress can be heavy and it may feel isolating. But remember, Allah knows your situation intimately. He knows what you are going through and He knows how much it hurts. Allah is aware of your every need, even the ones you don't speak aloud. He understands the depths of your heart, and He is the only one who can open doors of provision when it seems there are none. So, in whatever state we find ourselves, whether in joy or sorrow, in ease or hardship, let us remember that Allah is our ultimate source of help. We are never alone in our struggles, even when it feels like no one else understands. Know that Allah is always there, listening, ready to help and ready to provide. All of us are at some point in our lives facing some kind of difficulty. It is part of the test of this world. But in our times of difficulty, Allah's mercy is greater than any challenge. His wisdom far beyond any of our own understanding. And His power can bring relief where we see none. Always turn to Him with faith and trust, knowing that He is the one who can change our circumstances in ways we cannot imagine. Allah Himself, in His infinite wisdom, describes the reality of human beings in a way that resonates deeply with all of us. He tells us in the Quran, we created the human being in exhausting labor. This statement is not just a reflection of the challenges we face, but a truth about the nature of our existence. It reminds us that life in all its dimensions is not without difficulty. Each day brings its own set of trials, and we are constantly engaged in various forms of struggle, whether it is mental, emotional, or physical. Mentally, we are often drained. We live in a fast-paced world where demands never cease. There's always something to think about, always something to solve. Our minds are constantly processing, analyzing, and trying to make sense of everything around us. At times, we feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of thoughts that consume us. This mental exhaustion can feel like a weight, a burden on our minds, making it difficult to focus, to think clearly, or to find peace. Emotionally, we may feel drained as well. The highs and lows of life can leave us feeling exhausted. Relationships, personal challenges, and even our own emotional responses to the world around us can take a toll. We may find ourselves feeling hopeless, disconnected, or simply too tired to deal with the emotional demands of life. There are moments when we feel that no matter how hard we try, we can't seem to shake off the heaviness in our hearts. Then there's the material exhaustion. The need to provide, to earn a living, to care for our families, and to meet our obligations in the world can be incredibly tiring. The workplace demands are often endless, whether it's the pressure to perform, to succeed, or simply to keep up with the ever-changing landscape of our careers. The burden can seem insurmountable. Even when we achieve success, there's a constant fear that it might not be enough, or that the next challenge will be even greater. Physically, we are also tested. Our bodies grow tired with age, illness, or simply the demands of daily life. We push ourselves trying to juggle multiple responsibilities, and in doing so, our physical health begins to deteriorate. The aches and pains that accompany our efforts to keep moving forward are constant reminders of our human fragility. We try to remedy one ailment only to find that another arises in its place. We also face a deeper, more existential exhaustion, an emotional or mental state of being stuck. Perhaps it's a problem you can't seem to solve, no matter how many solutions you try. You may have explored every possible avenue, yet nothing works. Your creativity and energy seem depleted, and the answer remains elusive. This kind of exhaustion, the feeling of being trapped in a never-ending cycle, can be incredibly disheartening. You feel as though you are moving in circles, unable to break free or find the peace and resolution you desperately need. In our daily lives, we find ourselves constantly preoccupied with all of this. These challenges take up much of our mental space. At times we have to force ourselves to think positively, because if we don't, the default mode of our minds is to dwell on the negative. Every moment of solitude becomes an opportunity for our minds to spiral into worry and frustration. You may find yourself driving or in a quiet place, and the only thoughts running through your mind are all the things that are wrong, the problems that need solving, the tasks left unfinished, the things that haven't been accomplished yet. It is easy to feel consumed by these thoughts. The stress, the anxiety, and the pressure can weigh heavily on us. Our minds become so focused on the obstacles that we lose sight of the blessings and opportunities that exist around us. We become fixated on the challenges, forgetting that Allah in His mercy has given us the strength to endure and the means to find relief. This constant preoccupation with our struggles is a part of our human condition. It is what we experience in one form or another throughout our lives. But we must remember that even in this exhausting state, we are not alone. Allah is aware of every burden we carry, every moment of fatigue, and every thought that preoccupies us. He knows our hearts and the depths of our struggles, and it is only through Him that we can find true relief, solace, and the way out of the difficulties that seem insurmountable. Part of our relationship with Allah is built on the act of asking. We are constantly in need, constantly turning to Him with requests, whether they are for our worldly needs or for matters concerning our hereafter. We ask Him for guidance, for sustenance, for peace, for healing, for strength, and for the removal of obstacles in our path. And of course, there are the personal desires and needs, the ones that are unique to each individual. Those secret desires between you and Allah. But the truth is, we are not simply asking Allah out of habit or routine. We are asking because we know that He is the only one who can truly fulfill our needs. Allah, in His mercy and power, is the one who can answer all of our prayers, whether they are big or small. However, there is a key ingredient that we must acknowledge. If we want to ask in a way that is hopeful, that is filled with sincerity and trust, and that makes us confident that Allah will answer, this key ingredient is something the Quran repeatedly emphasizes. It is a concept that we must embrace fully in order for our prayers to be effective. That secret ingredient, my dear brothers and sisters, is seeking Allah's forgiveness first. Before you ask for anything else, before you ask for solutions to your problems or for the fulfillment of your desires, you must first ask Allah to forgive you. This is not merely a formality. It is not just a step that we go through before making our requests. No, this is an essential part of the process of asking. Allah has made it clear in the Quran that He is ready to forgive us. He is the most merciful, the most compassionate, and He desires to forgive His servants. But the prerequisite for receiving His forgiveness is our acknowledgement of our own mistakes, our own shortcomings, and our need for His mercy. So when you make a dua, when you ask Allah for something, start by seeking His forgiveness. We all make mistakes. We all fall short, and we are all in need of Allah's forgiveness. Whether it is for the things we have done consciously or unconsciously, whether it is for the things we have said or left unsaid, whether it is for the times we have neglected our duties or made wrong choices, Allah knows our hearts and He knows the sins we carry. And it is through seeking His forgiveness that we purify our hearts and set the foundation for our supplications to be answered. Now, you may be wondering, thoughtful, what words should I use for forgiveness? What is the best dua for seeking forgiveness? The words are important, yes, because they are sacred and revealed. But let me share with you a secret. There is no one-size-fits-all dua. You see, people often ask me, which dua can I make when I'm expecting a baby? Or which dua should I say when I'm going for a job interview? These are special occasions, and yes, there are specific supplications that relate to these events. But the dua that is most important, the dua that applies to all occasions, is the one where you ask Allah for His forgiveness. In times of joy and in times of hardship, the dua for forgiveness remains the same. Whether you are celebrating a success, facing a challenge, or experiencing an ordinary day, asking Allah for forgiveness is the key to opening the doors of His mercy. It is through this act of asking for forgiveness that we begin to earn Allah's favor and prepare ourselves to receive what we truly need. When you are about to ask Allah for something,